there! With 2026 starting, I think it's time to go over my goals for 2026. I'm super excited to keep making content for 2026. That's kind of my first big goal. But overall, my goals are going to be focusing on expanding, exploring, and enjoying my content. I have 8 goals for 2026, all of which lead to more enjoyment, more exploration around book content, and yes. Should we throw another E in there? Let's go for educating myself, maybe? So, for 2026, I want to focus less on hitting a big numerical goal and more on actively taking in content. Being really purposeful, being really intentional about what I'm taking in, and, really comprehending things. Comprehension is in, people. It's in. And I'm here to encourage that. I want to focus on finding new creators, new genres that I've never heard of before, or I haven't really dipped my toe into. I'm focusing more on reading because I enjoy it and because I love reading so much, and really remembering the why behind what I'm doing. Last year, 2025, one of my music goals was to expand my music genres, and I really loved finding new creators that way. And it's so fun to explore things that you think you might not like, because you will be surprised most of the time. Just because something isn't in your usual warehouse doesn't mean you should shy away from it. My main rule for my goals this year is that I don't want books to double dip in my goal tracking. So if I have a book that is in my first section, I can't also use it for a book in the third section or the fourth section. I want to make sure that I'm purposefully dwindling down these books to meet each criteria, and it's okay if they do overlap, but when I'm counting meeting my goals or not, I'm not going to have them overlap, if that makes sense. I think it does. With that, let's get started. My first goal is to expand my genres and my authors. As I said earlier, I really loved doing this with music last year, so I'm looking forward to finding new genres and new authors this year. If you have any recommendations for any of these things, any of these sections, any of these goals, please drop them down below. I am always looking for more genres and more recommendations from people I know and care about. My biggest genres are usually fantasy, sci-fi, and romance, and sometimes middle grade in there. And so I'm looking for things outside of those genres. I have a couple picked out. I have, this is an autobiography. It's Elise Meyer's autobiography. That's a great question. I'd love to tell you. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I also have a horror book here, which I always say I want to read horror, but I never actually do it. So this is a good excuse to buckle down and explore something new. This is The Whisper Man by Alex North. I started this last year, but I didn't quite finish it, only because I got too busy at the end of the year. And I really liked it, and I have read scary books in the past. I've read a couple Stephen King novels. I read some true crime books in middle school, and I really enjoyed them. So I want to get back into these. Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is The Water Dancer. I've read other books by this author, and I really loved his autobiography specifically, or his memoir, and so I wanted to pick up some others. This is a historical fiction, which I generally stay away from, but it also has a little bit of magical realism in it, so I'm excited for this one. It looks really good. I want to diversify. Yay! Give us back DEI. Oh my God, the world is crazy. I have a couple of authors here, but I'm always looking for more recommendations, and I have some on my Kindle as well. Here are some others that I want to look into. But a couple of the ones that I have for sure in hand are Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan. I've been wanting to read this one for a long time, and I finally grabbed a copy. And then The Principle of Moments. This is by Esme Gikemi Pearson. I need to read this one. It's a time travel book, which, I usually don't like time travel, but I always try it because I want to find someone who does it well. So I have high hopes for this book. Also, this is my beautiful special edition. delicious, scrumptious, beautiful. Goal number 2 is to listen to audiobooks narrated by the authors. I love when I can find an audiobook narrated by the person who wrote it. I think it's fun to listen to how the author wanted you to take in their media, and you can get so much of their nuanced meanings that they put into the words that you might not always be able to pick up on if you're reading it or listening to someone else narrate it. I have a couple on my radar, and the first one is Cynthia Erivo's autobiography. I'm really excited about this one. I just need to pick it up on Audible or Libby. I believe John Green has another one that he's narrated himself, and I want to check that one out too. But if you know any others, please let me know. Goal number 3, this one is a big one. Owned or loaned. I want to focus on not over-consuming the books that I purchase. And I have plenty of lovely books in my home that I can read, or books I can get loaned from the library, from the Libby app, or even friends that loan them out to me personally. I really want to focus on taking in the content that I already own and have already purchased, and it's a good thing to do. Like, I need to stop just buying all of the books and start reading the ones that I already have but haven't read yet. I recently moved, and I got my library card, and I am unstoppable. I've already picked up a whole ton of books on Libby. I specifically love the audiobook feature on Libby because I work as a set painter, so I spend a lot of my time at work painting, which makes it so I'm able to listen to a lot of audiobooks while I'm working. Being able to pick up a new audiobook on Libby is fantastic, and that way I don't have to spend a whole bunch of money on multiple book subscriptions. If you don't already have a library book card, what are you doing? Go get one. Get one and you can, oh, it's upside down. Get one and you can be unstoppable like me. You can be unstoppable like all of us. Please support your local libraries and get to know the people who work there. There's such a great community to be found around you if you're willing to go out and look for it, which is part of why I want to do Owned and Loaned for one of my goals, because it will force me to talk to people about books, which is my favorite thing to do. Next is goal number 4, 1 debut author each quarter. I love when I can find a new author, and I really enjoy reading debut novels. I have a couple picked out for this year, but I am still looking for one for quarter 4, so the winter season. If you know of a great debut novel coming out, please let me know what it is. These are the picks I have so far. Quarter 1, The Celestial Seas by T.A. Chan. Quarter 2, Smash or Pass by Birdie Shea. And quarter 3, Love, Gods, and Sinners by Camille Chong. I'm looking for that 4th book, so let me know if you have one. The 5th goal is to get into annotating. I have annotated some books, but not like super dedicatedly. Is that a word? I haven't annotated a lot with like dedication, start to finish. You know, maybe it's a reread, maybe it's from scratch, but this year I want to try out a couple of different annotation styles to see which ones click for me. I always find it easier to annotate books that I have read before, so maybe it would be fun to start some I've read before and I'm annotating on a reread versus some that I'm annotating from the get-go. I think it's really fun to be, as I said earlier, so actively participating in the literature that you're taking in. It's fun to document your thought process as you're taking it in for the first time. You know, like everybody always says, oh, I wish I could reread that book for the first time. But if you annotate it while you're reading it for the first time, maybe you could kind of revisit that again. On the topic of being maybe a little bit artistic with my reading, that brings me to goal number 6, which is finding fan fiction. I cannot be stopped. I love fan fiction so much, and you should read fan fiction because it's amazing. I have read so many fanfics that are far and above better than a lot of published content. If you're able to find someone who's putting their whole heart and soul into characters that they love, into situations they've created for them, it's so charming, and you can just feel how much love they've poured into these stories. And thanks to AO3's fantastic tagging system, you can really narrow down what you're looking for and find fanfics from authors that are exactly what you need, exactly what you want. So this year, I am getting back into book binding. I've done some fan fiction binding in the past, and I want to get back into it and be, again, purposeful about what I'm creating. I think it's fun to create the physical copies of the fan fictions that I enjoy, and I tend to try to make them look like the original books or look like a spin-off of the original books, and I'm excited to continue to do that. Just don't forget, if you are binding fan fiction, to always check with the author's permissions. I know some creators don't want their fan fiction binded into a physical book. And also remember, it is illegal to sell fan fiction. You cannot sell and purchase fan fiction. That is illegal. Don't do that. Don't be dumb. Next up is goal number 7. My 7th goal for the year is to focus on adaptations. I love when I can find content that has been recreated in different genres or different styles. So last year I read Frankenstein and watched the new Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie. And I loved being able to talk with one of my good friends, Jill, about how they had to adapt the story to work better in a film aspect. You know, there's different ways to tell these stories, and some are more successful in words, in books, in writing. Sometimes they have to bend those kinds of things to fit more for film or more for series or more for musicals or plays or staged productions. And I love nitpicking those differences and peeling them apart and seeing, oh, how did they bend this that direction? Like the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, the internal monologue that you get for Coriolanus in the book is so much deeper than what you perceive through the movie. And both are very successful adaptations, but you know, you miss some aspects going one way or another, which is why I want to find some good adaptations where there's books and movies, or books and musicals, books and plays, you know, books and graphic novels, and seeing which ones I prefer, which is more successful in the literary sense versus the film sense, and things like that. I'm thinking about reading The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings for this goal, because I have never read them before, and I think I've seen some of the movies, but not all of them, which is kind of is what it is. I just never, I never got into that. I enjoyed it, but more passively. And I'm excited to potentially experience all of that for the first time. So yeah, I think The Hobbit would be a good pick, and if I really like The Hobbit, then maybe I'll do the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yay! My final goal for 2026 is a pretty big one, and I think a lot of people are kind of leaning this direction this year, which is to limit my screen time. It's the damn phone, you guys. Put it down. I want to be more purposeful about what I'm taking in, and I can be more purposeful by limiting the amount of time I'm online and focus and dial in more time that I am offline. I want to slowly take down my screen time and focus more on physical media, more on crafting, more on hobbies, more on reading, because I think it's so important to step away from all of the havoc that you find online. You know, there's a lot of things that I interact with that don't make me feel good. And it's good to be conscious of that and to purposefully better yourself. You know, like I will be bettering myself if I take less time online and more time living. So that's why that's my final goal for 2026. To track all of these, I am going to be making a little infographic. If you would like to follow along, I will be following along on my Instagram, as well as Storygraph, Fable, and Goodreads. Yes, I use all 3. It's because I'm crazy and I want to try to find which one I like the most. So you can find me there. All of my links will be in the description to where you can follow me. I will follow you back. And without further ado, let's get reading. Don't forget to drop your book recommendations in the comments below. I would love to add more to my TBR because it's not long enough. Book besties, I want 2026 to be a year of joyful reading. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you read something joyful today, and I will see you next time.